Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Lazy Tea. It's been about 4 months or so since the last got in front of you guys here on camera. Quite a bit has been going on. I actually just had to review the last video I put out, and I was sitting on the front porch of cabin 2. It had no railing, and some of the inside was still not finished and things. So things have come quite a long way since we opened on April 1st, and things have been going great. We are full. I think we've been full every weekend. We're starting to get midweek things as summer starts coming along and things like that. So even October is really starting to fill up. Again, that's a big time of year here with all the leaf peepers and stuff like that. So, but it doesn't mean because I haven't been recording, I haven't been working on stuff. It's been quite busy. In fact, you can see here behind me, I've got a pile of gravel. Not just one pile of gravel, I've got another pile of gravel over here as well. So ABC right here, and then I have 57 stone right there. So it's part of a project I'm gonna kind of bring you in on that's going on down the hill. And what else was back here? Quite a bit of lumber back there. Let me kind of walk you over here and show you kind of how this all stacks up. So everything you're seeing here is for cabin 5. So it's on the rack now, it's drying. It's gonna be several months before I start really working on cabin 5. But I wanted to get most, if not all of it, cut so that when I do put it up, there's as little shrinkage as possible once the siding and things like that. Things like the inside sheathing, it's very noticeable when the boards really start to shrink and things like that. So gaps become evident and stuff like that. But so we got some larger board pine over here. I quarter sawed an oak, some red oak here for the flooring, which turned out fantastic. I'm really excited to see that get down on the floor. And then I have quite a few 4x4s and 2x4s here on the end of the stack. Those are all going to be for the framing and everything for cabin 5. Again, just letting it sit here, letting it dry out, and you know, when the time comes, I think it's going to be great. So, but the reason I'm bringing you guys along down the hill, I'll show you quite a few little projects that have gotten done since we have last talked. So let's get into it. All right, guys, here's how things are looking right now. If you've been following along on our Facebook page, you would have seen that about middle of June or so, we had part of the driveway paved here. It has greatly improved, you know, people getting in and out of here. It was really something needed to get done. So you saw behind me cabin 2. Cabin 2 is up and going. It's been on the list for reservations really since we opened on the 1st. Had the one big thing that may have, it's obviously a different layout than cabin 1 and cabin 3, but the one big thing for cabin 2 is that there's bunk beds in there. It's a queen on the bottom and a twin on the top, so it's more functional that way. So if we have couples, they can still utilize the bottom, the queen bed, and then if they're a couple guys show up on motorcycles that don't want to share the same bed, one can hop up into the top bunk and stuff. But that was quite a project because that is all done with I had some red oak sawn, so I made a unbelievably heavy bed. So let's go in here and take a look at it. It's currently not rented yet, so Rebecca hasn't made the beds for it yet, but let me just go ahead and show you how the bed, get some light in here, how the bed was made. I'm really happy with how this turned out, and it's it's heavy. So here it is here. So this is all rough sawn lumber. You can see it was made with a circle saw lumber, or a mill, I'm sorry. 4x4s here for the end post. These are actual 2x6s. These here along this this side here, those are 2x8s. So, and it is red oak. And it's not finished anything yet because, well, it's still actually drying. The wood is actually still drying out. So it might take a minute, but we'll get this thing kind of finished up. We have had some comments from some folks who've stayed that absolutely love the bed. They love the feel of the raw wood and things like that. So it turned out fantastic. And this actually happened because we knew we wanted to put in kind of a more functional bed in this cabin, simply because we wanted more functionality out of the cabin to get, to get a different variety of groups in here. So that's kind of why we went with this bunk bed. So I looked online real quick. Again, if you remember from my last video, I was kind of not really under the gun. I mean, we could not have opened for another week or something. It wouldn't have hurt anything, but we wanted to open up and be fully open when the time came. So this was kind of a rush job. I even looked online to see if I could buy like a pre-made set, something like that. But when I found this exact setup, it was around $1,500, and that was not in the budget. And so I had to run out and grab some lumber and start getting to work. So it actually really came together really nice. We're really happy with it. The only complaint we have, it's difficult to make the top bed because it is so heavy. I have these casters that are on the bottom that I can lift up and move the bed around a little bit, but it's not an easy process. So making the bed in this position is not fun, to say the least. I'll put it as Rebecca says, it's not fun. And then let's see here. This is how the sink area kind of finished out. So again, I made a nice oak countertop here for the sink, and hot water heater here is actually behind this wall that's down here. It's mounted on this wall, but it's covered up by some wood right in there, and it's been working out great because up above, this area up here really was tough to get to. There really wasn't as much room just because of the way the ceiling was laid out on this cabin. It really made it easier just to kind of put the hot water heater down here. So that all went well. And of course, this cabin is nicknamed Glacier, so you'll see some pictures around. All of these pictures that are here I took while I was a wilderness permit ranger there in Glacier National Park. And of course, we've got the awesome NPS map there of Glacier I picked up when I was there. Bathroom, pretty standard. She's got some stuff kind of piled in here right now. So let's see if we can get that. But this floor actually is a tile floor. Came out fantastic. We're super excited to have tile here. And the other cabins are probably going to get tile in the bathrooms this winter. Reason being, obviously we seal the floor and everything. I mean, you're not walking on raw wood. It's sealed up with some polyurethane and stuff, several coats actually. But when people leave wet towels and stuff on the floor, that wood starts to absorb some of that watering. The grain rises a little bit. So we're going to mitigate that by putting some tile in the shower area. So I think that's going to work out great. It's pretty easy, and we actually think it looks fantastic. It lightens up the room a little bit, adds a little different texture here with the, obviously everything being wood. White ceiling, that was tongue and groove, 1x6 tongue and groove. We didn't use the same 1/4 inch pine sheathing we've used in other places, in the other cabins and in the bus. All of that, it all went up just fine. I mean, it's been fantastic. So Cabin 2. Cabin 2 was obviously the last one to get done. We're out here on the porch. You can see the railing. We use this hog fencing. It really looks fantastic. One of the things I've done kind of since we've opened, we've got these flip-up tables here on each of the porches. Really a big hit with a lot of the folks that stay here. They sit down in these chairs, they're out here on their computer or really just enjoying their morning coffee, and they've been a big hit. So each cabin has one of those as well. So this brings me down to what I'm actually down here working on now. Now that everything behind me is done and these are all up and going, these have all been pretty much hands-off since we've opened, and it's been going great. But as you know, we had hopes and dreams of having some more cabins or some more stuff here to rent, and that's exactly what I'm down here working on. So this here, let me orient you a little bit here. Right behind me is cabin 3, okay? So we got the cabin 3 parking, and then it comes over here to this dirt area. There's the electrical panel and stuff in the back. And then I spent about the last week and a half or so working on this little retaining wall and kind of getting this area kind of squared away. So what's going to happen, we're going to put the bus down here for those of you that were not aware of that. I know a lot of the folks, a lot of you that have stayed here with us are now following along as subscribers, so thank you for that. And Rebecca has informed you that we're putting the bus here. So that's going to be for rent here in the near future. Have to do some modifications to the bus, but ideally right now, this is what my primary focus is. So you can see behind me, I've still got some of the exposed sewer line here. I put most of this in the other day. It's kind of down this hill and around to where the picnic table is right now. That is where that septic tank is. That's going to be for the RV plus cabin 5. And there might be some other things in the mix that are a little further down the line. But so that's what I'm down here working on. I've been shoveling. It seems like my life's work here, trying to get this ditch in, trying to get it sloped properly and things like that. So what I've got to do, so the reason we're coming in here with a retaining wall, if you remember, I've showed you the retaining wall I put down in front of the office. It's basically the same thing. I've got some 6x6s here spaced about 5 feet apart, and then this is the actual wall itself is less than 2 feet high, and they're about probably 4 feet in the ground, so it's almost double the length in the ground that is above the surface here. So I'm not really concerned about it collapsing. And in our area, if it's over 3 feet, you're going to have to get it engineered. So I knew I wasn't going to be above 3 feet. So what I got to do is, this is all going to be filled in, predominantly filled in with dirt. I've got some other projects I have to level things out for, so this is going to be filled in with dirt, leveled off, and then that gravel that's up the hill, that 57 stone that's up the hill, is going to be put down as the surface layer down here on top of the dirt. So let's say Thursday, tomorrow's Friday, so I have a piece of equipment showing up. I rented a skid steer because I'm not going to hand move all of that gravel that's up the hill down to here. So I've got several things I need to get done or want to get done. I've got it for the weekend, so I'm going to run it from sun up to sundown, I think, trying to get all this stuff done. So if you've ever rented a piece of gear before, you know it ain't cheap, and well, we're going to use the hell out of it. So that's kind of the plan from here on. So what I'm working on today, I've got to do a little more digging for the septic line because I have to. If you've ever been to an RV park, you know their septic basically just comes up to a concrete pad, and there's the hole that you connect your gray and black water line to, and that, you know, as far as you all are concerned, it just disappears. So that's what I'm going to be working on down here. So as I'm looking around here, what you may have seen in the background as well, obviously with these posts, these 6x6s that are in the ground here, they're all embedded in concrete and stuff. So I've been pouring concrete, and yeah, it's been it's been busy. It's been busy for sure, and it's been so humid. I can't tell you how crazy it's been here. So yeah, so I'm going to take today. I'm going to do some more digging, get this kind of lined up, and we'll check in with you here in a little bit. I hope that didn't drag on for too long, but it's quite a bit to cover, and I know I missed about probably 500 things that I've done here since the last time we've talked. So hopefully you're all kind of caught up to see what's going on, and well, I'm going to get to it. All right, guys, just about gonna wrap it up for the day. I have my sewer line in here. I finished putting this in. This was all uncovered earlier. You may have seen that in the background, but I've got the connection finished there. It's not at the finished height. We're still gonna have to, it'll drop down maybe 6 inches or so, but all this has to be graded out. It's gonna be on the level with that part of the wall there. So all this will come up a little bit. So I just kind of have that in there temporarily set like that. So where all I have to do is really kind of trim the pipe and then get it in. And I'm going to put a concrete pad around it to kind of finish it off like that. So we got folks checking in today. So I generally don't like to be out here working and banging around and making a bunch of noise when folks are here. So gonna wrap it up. I've been running around with the weed eater and stuff, just kind of cleaning things up for the folks that are checking in. So big day tomorrow. I'm gonna be doing quite a bit of earth moving. Like I said, moving a lot of dirt into the pad here, leveling that off, and then moving the gravel down. So it's gonna be an interesting weekend, super productive. That's the plan, and we'll see you then. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. It's now Monday, all right? A couple days have gone by, and a lot has happened, as usual here. Had the rental equipment here this weekend, a skid steer, worked out fantastic. If you look behind me, you notice I had 2 big piles of gravel there that are no longer here in this location, at least. So things went really well. It certainly helps, you know, obviously having a good piece of gear like this moving 40 tons of stone, that would have taken me probably a couple weeks and a lot of Advil to kind of get through. But let me take you down the hill here. We'll show you how the bus location turned out, and yeah, a couple other tidbits. Here we go. All right, gang, as we come down the hill here, you see directly right in front of us is where the bus is going to be. So this was predominantly filled in around the retaining wall there with dirt, compacted it, and then predominantly on top, the lighter color stuff is 57 stone, and then I had a few buckets of ABC left. That's this tan colored stuff. And that'll change. This will all change color as the sediment from the rocks, as they're crushed and everything, all of that washes off. So all of this should look basically the same color. But this ABC, because it's got the fines in it there, that will all wash down in between the gravel and everything, and kind of help it lock into position and stuff. But the truth of the matter is, when the bus gets on here, it's definitely gonna make ruts in the gravel, just because it's 25,000 pounds, and you really need to compact something with quite a bit of weight in order for that not to affect this stone. So I'm all anticipating that. So I'm not concerned about that at all. So that's how that goes. So my primary effort today is going to be the electrical. So I've got to dig a trench and really find a spot where I'm going to put the electrical box for the bus, and I've got an idea. So it's not going to be a long trench or anything today. Got to run the mobile home feeder wire because I got to run 100 amps to the box because there's a 50, a 30, and a 20 amp circuit in there. It's not a problem. I already have that wire, so it's not like, it is overkill, I guess, because I only need a 50 amp circuit, but since I have it and it's just sitting up under the house up there, so we'll go ahead and use that. So, but as far as the project goes here, what you're seeing behind me with the bus pad and everything, that project is pretty much done. I could come out here with a rake a little bit if I was absolutely bored, but that's not going to happen today. So I'm going to end this video here about this this parking area for the bus, and I'll get going on the electrical. We'll see you when we see you.